Hey team, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you all are having a great weekend. So you're going to be watching this video on Monday morning, but this topic is how to get under the sub 2 hour, 30-minute marathon barrier. And I will tell you from my own experience and background that anyone that's trying to go 2:29:59 for the marathon has an immense amount of drive, focus, and discipline. The athletes that are trying to run this fast, in fact, I've only broken this barrier twice in my career. I ran 2:19:35 and I ran 2:26:42. And those were the only times in my career running the marathons. And I started running marathons in 2002 and retired from competitive racing in 2018. I know how difficult this is. So I hope this video is helpful, at least in sharing with you some of my philosophy of what you really need to be thinking about as you're leading into your sub 2:30 marathon objective. If you can, give me a thumbs up. It helps the channel grow and helps more people see these videos. I'd really appreciate it. And feel free to leave me a comment below any of my videos if you have any questions or concerns, or if there's something that you want me to cover or a topic you want me to cover as well. When you're trying to go 2:30 or faster for a marathon, a 2 hour, 30-minute marathon requires you to be able to sustain 5 minutes and 43 seconds per mile for 26.2 miles straight, or 3 minutes and 33 seconds per kilometer for 42.2 kilometers. So the name of the game is pace sustainment. What do you need to do in order to slow down less than your competition? And at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to, and how well you're able to maintain your form and to hold that pace that you're trying to race at. You know, I continually stress in all my videos the importance of running well below goal marathon race pace in training. There's no easy way of being able to make that pace feel more manageable to get you to be able to hold 5:43 mile pace or 3:33 per K pace for that entire distance. And a lot of athletes are able to do it for a certain portion of the marathon, but it's again, where are you at the finish line? And I've had the same mistakes over the years as well, trying to run under this particular barrier, going out and being able to sustain, hold that pace for around 32K, but the last 10K of the race, I just fall apart. And I've been there in the past too. And a lot of times it's not necessarily that you don't have the capability. Okay, it's a matter of you. It might just mean you may need to work an additional, year or two or decade even. I'm not saying it'll take you that long, but sometimes it's just a matter of you're not prepared to hold that pace yet. You're not mature enough yet. Doesn't mean that you're not capable of doing it, but you're just not mature enough yet in your preparation to be able to hold that pace, that fast of a pace for that long of a period of time. And again, I talk, in that video I made about event versus process. Go back and watch that as well. I've had the same mistakes of rushing the process and thinking I could run under 2:30 when I wasn't quite ready to do it yet. Okay, my debut was in 2002. I ran 2:43:36, and I didn't break 2:30 until 2007, when I ran under 2 hours and 20 minutes at the 2007 California International Marathon. So some of the things I was doing, and I talk about this in other videos, because a lot of you, or some of you are new to the channel, so you don't necessarily know some of the things I've talked about in other videos, but I talk about the way I went from 2:43:36 down to under 2 hours and 20 minutes was increasing the pace of my long run. Okay, if you're trying to run under 2 hours and 30 minutes, you're already extremely talented, but you probably have a certain amount of talent, but you have an enormous amount of work ethic. You're that type of athlete that's going to get the job done. That's going to put in the work no matter what. But you can't just run long, slow, easy long runs every single weekend and expect to break 2 hours and 30 minutes. You're going to have to start a different type of mindset and a different training method to go under 2 hours and 30 minutes. Now I do have on RunDreamAchieve.com, I do have a sub 2:30 marathon course, as well as a sub 2 hour and 30-minute marathon training plan. So definitely check those out. Those are some resources and there's resources below these videos as well that are there for you if you're interested. It oftentimes is much easier to run under 2 hours and 30 minutes for the marathon if you have a plan in place and you're being coached and being mentored by somebody who's done what you want to do. And like I said, I ran from 1992 all the way up to 2018 competitively from the local, regional, national, and international level. So I understand what it takes. And you have to get to a point where what is it that you need to do to be able to sustain pace longer? You have to train well below 5-minute mile pace for one. I talk about doing one Vo2 Max workout per week. Your Vo2 Max is your maximum oxygen uptake. It's where you're running so fast you can't clear the lactic acid more efficiently enough. So you can only handle a few seconds to a few minutes at these types of efforts, but you're running at such a fast pace that you're going to make sub 2 hour and 30-minute marathon pace feel easier. If you're doing mile repeats at, say, like when you're extremely fit, I would recommend doing 1 mile repetitions on the track at anywhere from around 445 to 455 and do 5 to 6 1 mile repetitions on the track. And again, this is when you're very fit. You don't just start a 16-week block of training doing 445 to 455 mile repetitions on the track. Start off when you're, start off at around 85% of your fastest mile. So if your fastest mile is, say, 420, start the season off doing your repeat miles at around 505 and give yourself 3 to 4 minutes recovery when you're not very fit. And then when you're very fit, okay, when you're closer to around week 8 to 9 to 10 of that 16-week block of training, then start working on doing faster mile repeats closer to around 445 to 455 per rep with a 2-minute rest. So again, that's the periodization concept of marathon training, where you focus on a specific intensity for a specific amount of time. Once your body adapts to that anaerobic load that you're throwing at yourself, then you increase the intensity and you lower the rest. And then as you get fitter, the speed is going to increase. Your recovery between those efforts are going to be minimized. And then you start doing that taper phase, a 10-day taper, not a 3-week taper. If you want to go under 2 hours and 30 minutes, I highly suggest considering doing a 10-day taper rather than dropping your volume and your intensity 3 weeks out from your main marathon. Because I'm not saying a 3-week taper won't work, because it does work for a lot of athletes, but for me, I always set personal best from the 5K all the way to the marathon distance to a 10-day taper. And the reason why I feel like it worked better for me is because I didn't start dropping too far out, and it made me feel more energized and motivated going into my race, rather than feeling lethargic and kind of tired when I tried doing the 3-week taper. So this again, it's just advice, and it doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, but take the advice that I share with you on these videos with a grain of salt. Again, what worked for me may not work for you, but I do want you to be more efficient and more effective at your marathon. And anyone that's trying to run under 2 hours and 30 minutes, I will tell you from experience, this is an extremely difficult time barrier to break. And I've known a lot of talented athletes that never went under 2 hours and 30 minutes. I've known athletes that had much, much faster track times that I had that never broke 2 hours and 30 minutes. So some athletes are better on the track than they are marathoners. And then there's some athletes that are kind of late bloomers, such as myself. I ran my personal best of 2:19:35 for the marathon when I was 31 years old. So it takes time. Be patient with yourself with this. You're not going after a mediocre type time here. You're going after an elite time that very few athletes around the world run under each year. I don't know how many marathoners run around the world each year, but I would say it's a very small percentage that break 2 hours and 30 minutes. Probably around 5%, 5 to 7% of the world's population that run marathons break 2 hours and 30 minutes. So the concepts I want you to be thinking about, start doing a harder long run, with varied paces within that long run, with a combination of running at around 10 to 15 seconds slower than your goal race pace. So 5:43. So start thinking about running the segments of those long runs at around 6-minute mile pace. for an extended period of time. Okay, this is the exact same types of strategies I used to go from 243 to 219. I got away from just running long, slow, easy distance runs, which is what I was doing. I was a 243 marathoner, but I wanted to get under 2 hours and 22 minutes. You don't go from 6:14 mile pace, which is 243, to 5:25 mile pace, which is 222 flat, by just running long, slow, easy runs at 7:30 mile pace, 6:30 to 7:30 mile pace. Okay, which is what I was doing. So what I started doing was doing very difficult segments in my long runs, where I would do, like, say, every fourth mile of a 20 miler, I would go drop a sub 5-minute mile one weekend. Then the following weekend I would run long, slow, and easy. Then the following weekend after that, maybe I would do maybe like say it was like a 20 miler, I would do 2 miles easy, 16 miles at about 10 seconds slower than goal marathon race pace with a 2-mile jog cool down. Okay, so these were not easy efforts. They were extremely difficult. But those types of efforts are going to get you to 229.59. Yes, you have to work on your speed. There's no question about it. You are not going to hold 333K pace for 42.2K or 543 mile pace for 26.2 miles if you have not done your homework and training. You have got to train well below marathon race pace, training at 5K to 10K race pace on the track, doing long tempo runs. If you're wanting to go sub 2 hours and 30 minutes for the marathon, your tempo run cannot be 3 to 5 miles in length. Okay, yes, you can definitely get a huge anaerobic boost from a tempo run of that length, but you want to extend it. You want to get it out to around 16K to 25K in distance. Those are the types of tempo distance runs I would do, and you're running at your anaerobic threshold, the point where lactic acid starts to build up in the bloodstream. You want to teach the body to be very well accustomed to higher levels of lactic acid buildup and being able to clear it faster than it's building up. The problem that a lot of athletes are making in the marathon is, and the same types of mistakes I made earlier in my career, was improper pacing. You're going out far too fast, far too aggressive in your marathon, and you're blowing up in the latter stages of the race. You're not drinking enough, you're not hydrating well enough in the race, you're not taking in those gels. They're there for a reason. The races around the world hand out gels right around mile 17 or 18 for a reason. It's because we only have about 1,700 to 1,800 calories of carbohydrate buildup in our body at any given time. We burn about 100 calories per mile, and if you run out of glycogen, okay, we have a ton of fat storage, but we have very little carbohydrate storage. So you have to train the body to burn what it has a ton of, and that's fat. Train the body to become more, train the body to race and utilize fat storage during your race and conserve carbohydrates, so that when in the last 10K of this marathon, you're able to you're basically sustaining pace. You're not, you may be picking up the pace or may feel like you're picking up the pace, but really you're just sustaining it better than your competition. So if you're training in such a way that you get that sub 2 hour, 30-minute marathon race pace to feel easier, you're going to be much more effective, much more successful if you follow these strategies I'm talking about. A 10-day taper, faster long runs, longer duration tempo runs. Focus on your recovery. That's probably the most important thing I can share for an athlete trying to run over 2 hours and 30 minutes. Yes, you have to work on your speed, but recovery, the rest period, is where you get the benefits of your hard work. Okay, you cannot continue to push anaerobically and expect a very high return on your investment. You have to back off too. You have to be disciplined on those easy days as well, and not run too fast, even if you're feeling phenomenal, even if you feel like you're recovered from the track session you did or the tempo run you did. You have to give yourself about 48 hours of recovery after each hard anaerobic workout. The long run is without question the hardest workout I did. So I will tell you, at the athletes such as yourself that's trying to break 2 hours and 30 minutes for the marathon, that long run is your bread and butter. Okay, if you're running long, slow, and easy, you're going to be what Sebastian Coe, the former world record holder of the 800 meter, said. He always said, I've always believed that long, slow distance runners made for great long, slow distance running made for great long, slow distance runners. So if you look back at any of even Sebastian Coe's training, he was extremely focused and driven on speed workouts. Granted, he was an 800 meter, 1500 meter, 5K guy, but you also need to have that mentality and focus to make sub 2 hour and 30-minute marathon pace feel easier too. Work on that speed. Start training well below 5-minute mile pace, well below or right around 3 minute to 3 minutes and 10 seconds K pace, so that you get that marathon race pace to feel more moderate and less aggressive. Okay, it's going to hurt extremely bad in the latter stages of your marathon, but it's much better to be in pain in the last 5K of a race than to be in pain in the first 10K of a race. And I've been there too. Again, be patient with your racing. Don't go out too aggressive the first half. Okay, do not go out in 108 the first half if you're trying to run 230. Okay, it's much better to run a 117 and come back in a 114 or 115. Then you'd still a 113. Come back in a 113 or a 112 and and do a negative split. Sometimes you can go out faster and then you have a little bit of buffer in the latter stages of your race as well. So I hope this video was helpful. I know it's a lot of information, and feel free to, like I said, leave me a comment below. Give me a like if you'd appreciate this content, and I definitely appreciate that. It helps this channel grow and helps more people see these videos. So I wish you all the best. If I missed anything, or if you have any other questions or concerns about running under 2 hours and 30 minutes or on any other topic, let me know in the comment section. So wish you all the best, and look forward to hearing about your sub 230.